At this time, Xiao Tian heard the female Jingwei beside him say, "Their mission failed this time. Within 7 days, more people will come." Xiao Tian froze and exclaimed that more people would come within 7 days. Thinking of this, he decided to take the initiative to eradicate the Blood Cloud Tower. Zhao Tian, standing on the cliff overlooking the imperial city, suddenly asked Zhongling just now. The female Jingwei was talking behind her back. "The Blood Cloud Tower will cause trouble to the people, and Zero Lin will be in trouble." "What do you mean?" Zhongling looked back at Li Jingwei, who was packing things in the distance. His eyebrows jumped, thinking that, "You idiots? Even the prince can hear it." She calmed herself down. Zhongling began to explain to Xiao Tian that, "Your Highness, Zuyan building is despicable and unscrupulous. If this mission fails, they may do as usual, capturing the people and force the government to pay protection fees. Because there are many honest officials in the court, touching the interests of some local tyrants, they will offer a reward to Blood Cloud Tower to protect these officials, Zuyan building assassins. If they can't, they will slaughter the people, forcing the court to submit. The court can only pay protection fees." Xi Yanlu canceled the mission. At this point, Zhongling sighed and continued to explain that the prince's mission failed. According to the Blood Cloud Tower's habit, they will try to continue to attack you. If the assassination fails, they will slaughter the people and demand protection fees. Xiao Tian heard this. Xiao Tian was also angry at the massacre of civilians. "Is shameless. How could they be called killers? If Suyin building once massacres the people, I definitely can't stand it. I will take action in public. My strength will be exposed. My idol. The days of being a leisurely prince would be gone." Xiao Qianyu analyzed. "Even if I hold back from taking action, people will be slaughtered, and the battle is disrupted. It's all because of me. If Zeruo divorces me, dismisses me, and be kicked out of the palace, I'll have to eat soft rice. I have to eat it. It's terrifying. I have to kill everyone in Zuyan building." Due to the failure of the first mission, according to the Blood Cloud Tower's habit, they will try to continue to attack him. If it fails, the killers will massacre the people, demanding protection. This will also disrupt the war in the Dane dynasty. Therefore, the Empress will definitely divorce him with a divorce letter. In this case, the soft rice won't be eaten. Xiao Qianyu analyzed. Her expression became more and more serious. "No, it's too terrifying. I have to kill all the people in Shun Tower." Thinking of this, Xiao Tian picked up Zhongling. He jumped with force. With a dull and loud sound, the terrible impact spread throughout Zhongling Hall. He found himself lifted off the ground. The scenery below quickly shrank. Soon they reached a height of several thousand meters. Before he could take a good look, a strong thrust suddenly came. The scenery around them began to quickly recede. As Xiao Tian's flying speed continued to increase, the scenery around them even began to blur. Zhongling's sight could not keep up. The spiritual energy in his body surged out involuntarily, turning into a protective spiritual barrier to avoid being torn apart. If it weren't for the system in Xiao Tian's body, monitoring his condition, reminding him to slow down. Otherwise, Xiaotian would continue to accelerate. Zhongling would be directly shaken to death, just as Zhongling was in a daze. Zhao Tian's voice suddenly came from his ear. "We're here." As soon as he finished speaking, Zhao Tian breathed out. Zhongling. The front sky was as broken as a mirror. A small mountain appeared in front of them. Seeing this scene, Zhongling couldn't help but exclaim. It was caused by the distributed flight of Suyan Tower. No wonder your majesty couldn't find it. The next moment, Zhao Tian jumped up and kicked the door of the Blood Cloud building directly. In the hall of the Blood Cloud Tower, a pair of blood-red eyes stared at Zhao Tian. And Zhong Wen beside Zhao Tian. Zhong Wen beside Zhao Tian was shocked. He didn't expect that the weakest was the Broken Void Realm. Among the group of killers, a woman with a charming face chuckled. Strange faces are really rare. Who are you? What are you doing in our Dian Blood Cloud building? Before she finished speaking, was swept away by the terrifying full screen, and the wall behind him turned into a machine. Before the assassins could react, a pair of blue pupils flashed in front of him, accompanied by a bloody storm. Zhongling stared wide-eyed at all this. The prince really used practical actions to tell what is to do it rather than talk. At this moment, 3 figures suddenly appeared outside the hall. Zhongling saw these 3 people and cried out, "Silver-edged killers! Silver-edged killers! Blood Cloud Tower has a branch in Dian? Why would they send such killers? The realm of the Silver-edged killers is the 7th awakening. As for the Gold-edged killer, it has the same realm as the Silver-edged killer. But their mission success rate is 100%. But both the Silver-edged killer and the Gold-edged killer are the elite of the Blood Cloud Tower." Just as they were about to take action directly, a terrifying pressure diffused from Xiaoshen's body. Immediately, the surrounding space was distorted. The entire Blood Cloud Tower constantly collapsed, seemed unable to withstand this pressure. Even Zhongling, who didn't face Xiaotian directly, all collapsed to the ground, trembling. As for the 3 killers on the opposite side, were already stiff in place and dared not move. The Golden Border killer's mouth was bleeding. He struggled to beg Xiaotian for mercy. Xiaotian shook his head with a bitter smile. "I just want to be a leisurely prince, but you have to send people to trouble me. Aren't you forcing me to destroy the Blood Cloud building headquarters?" Saying that, Xiaotian gathered his left fist and punched out. The Golden Edge killer standing in front of him, before he could continue to speak, was instantly evaporated by Xiaotian's punch. Even the clouds in the sky were blown away. The other 2 silver-edged killers were also affected. Their bodies were broken. Before they died, all they could think of was, "The idiot of the intelligence department. Damn it. You call this monster a waste?" Zhao Tian restrained his breath. He turned his head and found that his body was limp. Zhongling, sitting on the ground, frowned and helped him up again. "Little girl, why is your body so weak at this age?" Zhongling looked at Xiaotian, asking if he still needed to go to the Blood Cloud Tower. Xiaotian nodded. There's no way, this branch is just a forward station. The Blood Cloud Tower's headquarters was targeting the Dian dynasty. Zhao Tian said as he went upstairs and came to the top floor. Zhao Tian took the door apart with his bare hands. The treasure light inside almost blinded his eyes. Zhao Tian directly annihilated the Blood Cloud Tower. Dian's turmoil. He punched the door of the treasure house and shattered it, and was immediately blinded by the golden light inside. Zhang Ling behind Zhao Tian looked at the gold coins in front of him, couldn't help but exclaim, "Killing and arson." Before he finished speaking, Xiao Qian scolded him for talking nonsense. "We came to destroy the Blood Cloud Tower. To destroy the Blood Cloud Tower is to eliminate harm, to uphold justice, and share the emperor's worries." Xiao Tian said, "Well, asked the system to put these things into the system space." "Your Highness, what are you doing?" Xiao Tian asked Zhang Ling after hearing this. "Think about it carefully. They kidnapped me. Poisoning and verbal insults. As a victim, it's not too much to ask for compensation." Zhang Ling nodded awkwardly, indicating that it was not excessive. They have evil intentions towards the Dian dynasty. They've always been trying to corrupt the dynasty. As the king's husband, it's okay to collect some fines. This statement left Zhang Ling speechless. Xiao Tian put away the last thing. Seeing Zhang Ling, he explained that they, Blood Cloud building assassins, they forced me to destroy their branch. I took some tips. Is there a problem? Zhang Ling twitched the corner of his mouth. Who dares to object? Next, we need to find the headquarters of the Blood Cloud Tower. Saying that, Zhao Tian took out a jade slip, crushed it and threw it towards Zhang Ling. In an instant, the shards turned into a yellow streamer, covering his whole body. Seeing this scene, Zhang Ling was shocked. This is a 7th level defensive talisman. Shan Yutang capital. With strong defense. Zhang Ling was puzzled. Xiao Tian used this captive on himself. Xiao Tian looked at the system navigation, explained that he had received information. Ziyanglu's location seems a bit far. I'll fly faster later. Otherwise, I won't have time for dinner. With this Fulu, it should be fine. After saying that, Zhao Tian directly carried Zhang Ling on his shoulder and flew towards Su Yanglu's headquarters. Zhang Ling, who was carried by him, couldn't help exclaiming. Unexpectedly, the speed of the prince. Even the 7th level defense talisman couldn't withstand it. Prince. Xiao Tian's strength once again broke Zhang Ling's imagination. The stunned Zhang Ling suddenly tilted his body and found that her feet had stepped on the ground. No wonder it's the #1 killer organization. The smell of blood here is very strong. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhao Tian was surrounded by a group of killers. It's rare. Someone dares to break into our Blood Cloud building's headquarters. There are always people who seek death. Zhang Ling quickly looked up, and she broke out in a cold sweat. Unexpectedly, there were 2 killers with golden cloud edges. The breath is terrifying. At this moment, a voice sounded, "I have a wish." Who the sudden visitor would be. But she really didn't expect it to be the Prince of Dynasty and Zhang Lishuang's daughter. It was full of surprises. Obviously, he was surprised by the appearance of Xiao Tian and Zhang Ling. The appearance of this voice. All the killers present knelt down and saluted. Zhang Ling saw, trembled slightly at this scene. Because the other party is the owner of Blood Cloud Tower, the king of killers in the southern wilderness valley. Xiao Tian frowned and asked, "Your Blood Cloud Tower is very concerned about the great Yan dynasty.